Just saw me flying down the highway? No, you didn't. I stomped the gas back to the studio because the Bears just dropped 5 moves before. Cowboys week, and this fan base deserves it straight, fast, and with all the context that matters. 2 to injured reserve, 3 onto the 53. Dominoes that change the matchups on Sunday and the identity of this roster for the next month. I'm not saving anything for later. I'm laying it all out. So you walk into game day knowing exactly who we are, what we lost, and where the edge can still come from. Smash that like if you bleed navy and orange, hit subscribe to Bears News Fan Report, and drop a get well soon for our guys in the comments, then welcome the new faces the Chicago way. Let's work. First, the gut punch. Quarterback Jalen Johnson to injured reserve. That's the heartbeat of the secondary. A tone setter who closes windows with timing and leverage, and the presence the locker room leans on even when the C isn't stitched on his chest. Groin re-aggravation. And it stings because everyone knows groins are precision injuries. You don't negotiate with them. You respect them. If we're being honest as fans, we all felt the tug-of-war last week, the urge to rush him back versus the long game of a 17-week grind. When he's right, he erases a third of the field and lets your safeties play downhill. When he's not, you risk turning one Sunday into 4. That's not fear talking. That's scar tissue from years of learning the hard way. Lock him down, get him truly right, and give the depth a chance to show us who's ready for the moment. Second IR move, offensive tackle Kieran Amegadjie. Chicago kid, size that makes coaches smile in walkthroughs, and a tool set that still needs NFL reps to turn flashes into consistency. Elbow issues lingered, and the tape showed the learning curve hand placement drifting. Anchor not always cinch with feet. Penalties that stop drives before they start. That's not a scarlet letter. It's the story for plenty of young linemen. He needs time, coaching, and a reset. IR gives him the runway and gives the staff roster oxygen to patch around the edges short term. You don't write off frame, feet, and fight. You just admit he's not helping at 70%, and you live to build him right. Now the good. News 3 adds to the active roster. 3 chances to rewrite a Sunday. Let's start with the one every edge room respects the second he jogs into indie drills. Tanoh Kpassagnon. 6'7" treetop length, long arm that forklifts tight ends, and the kind of straight-line power rush that makes quarterbacks hitch an extra beat. He's not a playlist of bendy ghost moves. He's a tone-setting, pocket-squeezing, edge-surfing heavy who makes life easier for your 3-tech and your off-ball blitzers. You rotate him with Montez Sweat, keep legs fresh, and you force Dallas to earn the edge rather than steal it with pin and pulls and naked boots. The hidden value? Batted balls. That wingspan changes throwing lanes on quick game and RPO slants, and against a timing offense that matters as much as a sack on second dash and dash 6. Next man up. Carl Jones. You bring him up because he runs like he's late for a flight and hits like he packed light. Core special teamer profile, straight line juice, gunner mentality, tackling form that holds up in space, and enough defensive snaps on tape to trust him in sub packages. In a week where linebacker snaps are a jigsaw and the coverage units need to be flawless in field position, that matters. You don't need him to be the star. You need him to be the guy who turns a 14-yard punt return into a 2-yard thud, the guy who keeps the sideline alive, the guy who makes the third quarter feel long for the other side. And then, wild card, I'm legitimately excited to see in navy and orange, Gallas Flowers. Chicagoland roots, trackish traits, legitimate kick return resume, and press corner tools you can't teach: stride length, pop, and recovery speed. On defense, he's green enough that you protect him with leverage and help, but on returns, he can tilt the script in one snap. Field position is a quarterback's love language. Give Caleb a short field or two, and the whole plan looks smarter. Kickoff rules have turned returns into chess again if Flowers reads the blocks. One crease becomes 38 yards before you can finish saying, bear down. Nickel snaps could be there depending on how the staff deploys Josh Blackwell. But even without it, the return game juice is real. let's zoom out and talk impact. Losing Jalen changes coverage math. Without your CB1, you can live in more split safety shells. Roll help to the WR1 side and ask your front forward to win without blitz volume, or you gamble with simulated pressures that present blitz and drop the cover, trying to steal a throw. That only works if your edges are winning on time. Enter Capasignon. He's the guy who turns 2nd and 5 into 3rd and 7 because the quarterback never stepped into the throw on the quick stick. It doesn't hit the stat sheet loud. It shows up in third down distance and the opponent's play sheet shrinking dot up front. Amegadjie to IR forces cleaner rotation inside and out. It's not just next man up at tackle. It's your tight ends chipping more. It's your back scanning more. And it's your OC calling with a bias toward rhythm, throws early to get the ball out. That helps your line breathe, and it lets Caleb find his tempo before the rush finds him. If the staff leans into heavier looks on short yardage extra linemen, condensed splits your edge guys like Capasignon keep the defense's practice week honest. If they want to crash from wide 9, they'll feel it in their ribs on the next snap. Special teams become the hidden third of this story. Carl Jones in kick coverage means Dallas's return unit doesn't get freebies. Dallas Flowers fielding kicks means their coverage team can't get cute with lobs and corners. In a close game, 2 hidden first downs from returns plus 1 kickoff tackle inside the 20 equals points. That's not me being romantic. That's math baked into every NFL win probability model. Now, let's talk Cowboys matchup because all 5 moves touch it. Without Jalen, you don't shadow their WR1 man-to-man for 60 minutes. You leverage. Live in quarters and cover 2 looks that bait throws into help, and trust your front to close space before double moves develop. Capassignon's rush plan against their tackles is straight power to counterwalk him back, then swim or rip when the shoulders turn. If Dallas starts to live in boot and sprint out to avoid the interior, Flowers' speed on the edge as a force player, and Jones's angles in pursuit show up on those cutoff blocks and backside screens. Meanwhile, if our fence stalls for a series or 2, that's exactly when a 42-yard return from Flowers changes the whole vibe and lets Luke lets the play caller open the red zone sheet instead of trying to stitch together a 14-play epic against a fresh pass. Rush, depth ripples matter too. With Jalen down, trust becomes currency. This is where your safeties communicate like traffic cops and your nickel plays with inside leverage and violent hands. It's also where your pass rush takes responsibility for your coverage. 5-man gains, tackle stunts, mug the gaps, then bail anything to buy your corners one more beat. Capasignon has lived in those games. He understands timing, and that's gold in a short week of install. For the young OL behind Amegadjie, this is the kind of stretch that forges players. You don't have to pancake pro bowlers. You have to keep your quarterback clean on the first hitch, hold your water on the hard count, and keep the drive on schedule. If they do that, the backs get to read mid-zone with confidence, and we can stay out of the obvious passing downs that turn Micah-type rushers into monsters. Complementary football isn't a slogan. It's a checklist that starts with your roster moves making football sense. These 5 do. Let me say this too, because it's what a Chicago room needs to hear and what this channel exists to say. Smart doesn't mean soft. IR for Jalen isn't waving a white flag. It's putting your best player in September where he can be your best player in December. And signing a heavy like Capasignon isn't a panic patch. It's signaling how you want to win by making quarterbacks uncomfortable and edges honest. Jones and Flowers, that's speed, violence, and field position, the 3 pillars of a Bears Sunday that travels to any stadium in this league. Where do I land on all of it as your guy on this channel, as a fan who has sat in that wind in December and felt the whole stadium breathe together? I love the clarity. I hate that Jalen's down. But I love that we didn't flirt with 80% and call it toughness. I think Capasignon is exactly the kind of rotational hammer who looks ordinary on Wednesday and essential on 3rd and 8. I think Carl Jones earns his name on special teams this week and buys the defensive possession. And I think Dallas, Flowers gets at least one return that puts us in plus territory and flips a quarter. My only ask? Be disciplined with coverage calls and keep the rush on rhythm. Don't ask your corners to do Jalen's job by committee. Ask your front to steal you half seconds and your safeties to steal you throws. Okay, your turn, Bears family. Sound off below. Which of the three new ads are you most hyped to see on Sunday? Capassignon bullying the edge, Jones blowing up a return, or Flowers cutting a kickback against his hometown team? Are you rolling with a conservative coverage, playing without Jalen, or do you want to see heat packages to speed up their reads? And for my O-line diehards, what's your tolerance for extra chips and six-man protections early if it means fewer explosives but more control of tempo? Drop your take. If this breakdown hit that Chicago nerve, like the video so the algorithm learns what bear down actually feels like. And subscribe to Bears News Fan Report so you're in the room every time this front office pulls a lever. We'll be live for the pregame, we'll be loud in the comments, and we'll be honest all week. My personal opinion, on the record, the 5 moves are the right blend of patience and aggression protect Jalen. Elevate juice on the edge and on teams, and let field position be the hidden ally at Jerry World. If Flowers pops one in the Rush lands home twice on third down, Chicago walks out with a chance late. Now tell me why I'm right or why I'm wrong in the comments, and let's go get Sunday.